I don't want to go on a family vacation to learn. Ha! In this episode, I'm going to address how conducting family retreats and vacations with a purpose changes everything. This is important because the best way to build memories is to do something memorable. Get ready, you're going to be blown away. So, my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been helping many thousands of people optimize their financial assets, minimize taxes, and empower their authentic wealth for more than 48 years. Well, authentic wealth is more than just the money. I've been helping many people understand how to bring their family together, how to build memories. And one of the favorite topics that many of my audiences say, wow, that was over the top, is when I teach about how to conduct family vacations or retreats with a purpose. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about what are they, how do you do them, why your kids will be begging for these and your grandkids once you conduct one or two of them the way I'm going to share with you. You ready? What is a family retreat with a purpose? That's where you actually put thought into what you're going to be doing on a family vacation, whether it's 3 days, 4 days, a week, or what have you. We've been holding family vacations or retreats with a purpose now for more than 2 decades. And our children absolutely love them. We do all kinds of activities. And when people sometimes see our agendas, in fact, I remember early when we were doing this, our daughter was on a break at college, and 3 boys were flirting while they were on lunch break, and they grabbed her agenda for our family vacation to Maui the next week out of her hands. And they go, "What's this, Ashley?" And she says, "That's our family retreat agenda." And they went, "What? Your family has an agenda when you go on vacation? We just go, swim and lay on the beach." And she goes, "Oh, they are over the top. Look at what we're going to learn." And they went, "What? You're learning in college. You don't go on vacation to learn." She says, "Oh, no, you haven't been on one of ours." And so they began to look at it, and all of a sudden they were like, "Can we go on this? We would like to do this. I wish our family would have family vacations with a purpose. Will you please teach us when you get back what your family, what your father and mother taught you on this vacation?" And of course they did, and they were blown away. What is a family retreat with a purpose? Normally you have a theme, a focus. Sometimes we assign reading or a book to read in advance. We've had many books like The Intentional Family or The Power of Truth or The Majesty of Calmness. And they read these books before they come. And then many times, like my own book called Learning Curves, Life Lessons Learned While Riding a Harley-Davidson Motorcycle. That has 14 chapters in it. And so we would have every one of them take a chapter, them and now their spouse, because we have now adult children, and they would give their take on that life lesson in that chapter, one in the morning, one in the evening. We are actually doing all kinds of things: scuba diving, biking, hiking, playing golf, all kinds of fun activities. But we do gather together in the morning and in the evening, and also at dinner. What do? So in the morning, we gather together after we exercise. Now, one of the very first family vacations we did with a purpose, we wanted to lose weight. In fact, our goal as a family for many was to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days. And so the family vacation in Maui was a launch for that. And a lot of people gain weight when they're on vacation. This vacation, we invested in Walkometers. Those were inexpensive pedometers where we measured steps. Now you have watches that'll do that. But every day, everybody had to disclose how many steps they had taken that day up until 5 o'clock and then reset. And you had to have over 10,000 steps minimum to get $10 back. Everybody contributed $10 a day to the pot, so to speak, to go towards dinner. And if you wanted $10 toward your dinner, then you had to have 10,000 steps. Now, sometimes we would go out to dinner at Mama's Fish House in Maui or at Eric's or one of our family's favorites is Roy's Restaurant. Well, some of those plates are 35, 40 bucks or more. So they had to have 40,000 steps. A lot of times up until we started having family vacations with a purpose, our kids would sleep in till 7 or 8 o'clock, and oh my heavens, now they wanted to outdo their siblings and their parents, and they started getting up at 7, 6:36, 5:35, and even my wife, who just a few months earlier had half of her liver removed, she was getting up and getting in 35,000 steps before breakfast, which is about 17 miles. She was going from Ka'anapali down to Kapalua and back before breakfast. And I said, honey, I'll buy your dinner. No, it was the competition. And so pretty soon we had a lot of our children end up with all of these steps way over the top. But we taught about, when we go out, sometimes those restaurants serve way more calories than you're going to burn. Let's share the appetizer. Let's share the entree. Let's share the dessert. And we're not going to take it home and then an hour later eat the rest of it at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and you go to bed with all these calories that you're not going to burn. That's how people gain weight. That was the beginning. That when we came back from that retreat, about a month later, a lot of us ran the 5K or the half marathon, and in the next 90 days, my wife and I lost 30 pounds, and we kept it off. We started that on a family vacation with a purpose. That was just one of them. And we would then meet at 9 o'clock in the morning, and one of us would teach the rest of the group. And sometimes when we have the children there, we can get a nanny, or many times maybe grandma or grandpa or one of the parents will take care of the little children and have an activity or a story, while the rest of adults talk about, adult talk. We talk for about 45 minutes or an hour based upon the themes or the book or what have you. And then we go out and we play and we go our different directions. But then we come back at 5 o'clock, we have dinner, and that's where we do I Remember When memories. I'll explain what those are in just a second. And then in the evening, we gather together again and talk about one of the concepts or principles. And we have a bedtime story for the kids. We put them in bed, and then the adults sometimes have other conversations. But before I tell you what this family tradition of I Remember When's is, if this is intriguing you, and it ought to be, I want you to subscribe to this channel. I have over 700 educational videos, and when you subscribe, it's free. And click the little bell when you do, so you'll be notified every time I post a new episode, which I do almost on a daily basis. But stay with me to the end, because I want to gift you a copy of one of my books that will help you understand how to plan and carry out family vacations or retreats with a purpose. It will change everything. Your kids will be begging for these, okay? So what is an I Remember When? We get together and we have dinner, and we go around, and usually it's one of my children and their spouse and their kids will have one day of the week. So I don't care if it's Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday. They will share 3 I Remember When memories. They have to come prepared with I remember when, and they have to type it up. It used to be they would say it and we would transcribe it. Now they're old enough, they come with it in digital format on Word or a thumb drive or something. And they have to have it. It has to be fit on one page. And why? It's because we put these in a book and we compile them. And so this is an I remember when we were at Disneyland, or when I did this, or my dad made me turn myself into the cops, or whatever. Yep, that's one of my I remember whens. So you know what? Sometimes we have these memories and we laugh and we cry, but nobody writes them down, and then they get lost. You don't want to let those go to your grave with you. So with 6 children, their spouses, and now 20 grandkids, we end up with 32 of us coming with 3 memories each. Hello, do the math. We have 96 new pages entered into our family book automatically every time we have a family retreat with a purpose. The book is this thick. I started doing this with my adult siblings, and I would just have them come to our cabin on a Sunday night at 5. And we would have dinner, and we'd go around and share 3 I remember whens. There was 10 of us that are still alive. And then the next morning we have breakfast and do it again. And then we have lunch and do it again. And they go home. In 24 hours, we capture 30 memories. In 5 years, we have a 150-page book of I remember whens. Okay? And so this is why I'm very passionate about this. This is the worksheet that you can get a copy of. It's called I Remember Whens. In a nutshell, whenever we do I remember when memories, sometimes my siblings will say, well, what memories are we talking about? So I say, well, possible defining moments in your life, about when you learn the value of honesty or work ethic or punctuality or wisdom or family values or the loss of a loved one or religious, spiritual, marriage, health, moments of freedom or whatever. You write down the key ideas. Who was involved, when, where, and what? And what lesson did you learn from that experience? Okay. And all of a sudden they start writing it down, and then you turn it over and these are like memory joggers. Well, write down 3 comical, funny memories from before. How about family holidays and traditions? What are your favorite? What about embarrassing moments? Back in my day, we used to do this, close calls where you almost, had to check out. And recognitions and accolades. 3, 3, 3, 3. In one sheet of paper, they end up with 15 I remember whens. This is how you collect them because we have them in our head. We just need to jog our memory. And that's what this little worksheet does right here. It helps you understand who, what, where, and what lesson did you learn and how are you going to capture it. We record these, and again, we put them in a book, and this is how we have family vacations with a purpose. That's just what we do at dinner time. Are you beginning to get it? So family vacations are about bonding together, sharing life lessons, the good experiences, the bad experiences, involving the children, and sometimes having a nanny or one of you assigned to take care of the kids while the adults do adult conversations. It's not about always just sitting around learning, even though learning can be fun. And I have a lot of learning activities with 22 worksheets like the one I just shared, I Remember Whens. So if this is resonating with you, you'll want to learn about what a family bank is. This is not like a chartered bank down the street. This is a conceptual bank, a repository where you capture pages and pages of memories and you preserve them for future generations, and you capture them automatically on a family vacation. You deposit them in your family archive, your family bank, for the future withdrawal of your kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids into perpetuity. They will watch and rewatch those videos. They'll read and reread those stories, I assure you. Is this intriguing you? So here's how you can learn more and get some of these tools. Simply go to entitlementabolitionbook.com. It's this book. Or click on the link below, entitlementabolitionbook.com, and you contribute a nominal amount toward the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost. I'm not trying to sell you a book. I'm going to gift it to you. And so I'll pay for the book. You don't have to pay $20 for it on Amazon. And I'll fire out a hard copy to you. It's 12 chapters, 200 pages. And then if you really like what you read, you ought to do a deep dive. So there's options in there if you like to listen and learn, watch and learn, but there's an 18-hour masterclass where I spend 18 hours doing a deep dive that the book just can't cover. And so when you do that, I want you to check out how to attend some of our virtual events because I teach these sometimes in 6-hour online events or 6-hour live events in a city close to you. But this is about you and your brighter future. And if you want to change the dynamics in your family and have them begging for a family vacation, they'll resist it at first. But once you do it the right way, they'll be begging for these every year or two on your family calendar. They will never want to miss a family vacation with a purpose. Learn how here.